Yeah, what it is. Father Move. Noisier than you. That's right. Crazy noise levels. How's it going, everybody? Back to the big church with the big man, with the big modular, Father Move. Well, yeah, on Twitch I'm streaming sounds that sound like this. Because, you know, it can't all be sweetness and light all the time. You gotta do noises and crazy stuff once in a while. It's important. You gotta diversify. That's a great thing. One of the many great things about modular synthesis is once you start doing it, you realize how many genres are immediately available to you, from techno to drum and bass to just plain brutal digital noise. So even if you don't love every one of those genres, it's fun to dig into it and to see what kind of sounds you can make just for the heck of it. So actually today, without further ado, I'm going to dive into my patch. The thing, as I say, that always holds me back from making a stream is having a patch idea. And finally, last week, I had one, and I was like, that is a good idea. So I'm going to do it today. What was my idea? Well, over on Twitch, I have a bunch of little glitch machines. Some of them make drum machine type sounds, some of them make chiptune type sounds. And I also have some processors like a mini Chaos Pad, a very old device, and a very terrible sounding, but awesome in its own way, distortion pedal from Boss. So I like to run the little noise-making machines through these processing devices and make something noisy, very much from the... I grew up listening to a lot of Japanese noise artists like Merzbow and Sachiko M, and people who used mixing boards that had no audio inputs and just fed back on themselves. It was good stuff. So I'm not exactly going to make that today, but that is some of the genres I experiment with on Twitch in real time. So one thing that I did recently was I had a couple of these glitch devices. Let's stick with one of them called Fluorine as the glitch device we're talking about today. I said, yeah, this thing is cool. It generates these really neat chiptune patterns. And what it really needs is a drum machine to go along with it. Well, luckily it has clock ins and clock outs. So I went online and I ordered a couple of those pocket operators from Teenage Engineering. And they haven't arrived yet, but they're in the mail from wherever. I got a couple of the older ones, but they had the sound sets that I liked. And one of them is a drum machine. The other one is a melody machine, but it will let you do one drum pattern as well. And those are the reasons I chose them. So since I don't have those devices here yet, the brainstorm that I had is I should go into the Nord Micromodular, where we are now, and I should model these two instruments before I get them. In other words, I have an idea of the kind of pattern I would like to make if I had Fluorine and a pocket operator in front of me right now. Since I don't have them, the next best thing to do is to build them from scratch in the Nord Modular to emulate them as best I can, and then see what kind of problems I run into. Certainly issues like syncing the two devices or how the two devices actually sound in real life, I'm not going to match those exactly. But for example, I said one of them is a drum machine, so in the Nord Modular, I'm going to use some of the drum oscillators to make the drum sounds. And for the one that makes the chiptune sounds, I have my own ways of approaching that. So, yeah, anyway, that's my strategy and my plan for today. So I'm going to do a slightly different visual orientation here. Let's do it like this. Let's put the outputs in the middle here, and on the left I'm going to build my chiptune synth, and there'll be a gap, and on the right I'll build my drum machine. And I have just a 3-input mixer today. I might need to go up to an 8 or maybe put another 3-input mixer. We'll see if it's necessary. But yeah, so let's build those two things. So the first one is called fluorine. In fact, just to, where's that little guy? Here we go. Constant is a module that doesn't cost me anything, so I can use it just as a label. So I'm going to call this FLUORINE in capitals. Hey, did it get the F? F. There it is. So just to identify what I'm doing, and over here, I'm going to make another one of those since they don't cost me any processing power. Come on. And label it Pocket Operator. It doesn't matter which one of them on drum mode, and it shortened the name. Who cares? Pocket Op. So yeah, that's what the two machines are we're going to build today, so let's go ahead and build them. One thing that will definitely be shared between them is a clock. Since in real life I will probably use one as a master and one as a slave, so we'll just use a standard clock here today. Let's do it at about, this seems reasonable. Let's try 104. So fluorine, well, what is fluorine? Fluorine is based on a very, very interesting concept called byte beat, which is some very smart computer nerd wrote like exactly one line of code, and it could spit out like an always changing, always morphing stream of musical notes that sound very much like chiptone music. So with our goal today of being to make something that sounds like chiptunes, I'm going to go with the square wave oscillator, and I'm going to build him a semi-random note generating machine that will feed the pitch inputs that we have here. And yeah, he will probably need some kind of a sequencer to trigger his notes as well, but we'll get to that. So if square wave is a typical sort of computer gamey, chiptuney sound. Let's use the classic LP filter. I think I only really need the AD envelope today. And, finally I'm going to put it into a digitizer, which will also let me get that lo-fi video gamey sound that I love so much. So let's just wire up the audio outputs there and feed them into channel 1 of the mixer. So that's the start for the audio voice. Let's just move our label up here. You can go over here. So we got the clock over there. We're going to take... The thing about byte beat is that you don't really get to tell it what notes it's going to make. It kind of uses like, I guess it must be quantized LFOs that adjust the various pitches. It doesn't always sound very quantized, but at times you can hear like scales going up and down and things like that. So I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Probably take note sequencer B. That's a good one. And I think I'll take 2 of those. Just line them up. Trying to give myself a little space here. So I'm also going to take a couple of control signal mixers. What is that? Control signal mixer. So we're working in the area of blue cables here, where I want to mix different kinds of CV together so that I get a wide array of constantly changing notes. So I'm going to set up a random sequence on each one of these. And then we also have, so we'll wire sequencer 1 into here, sequencer 2 into here. I'm also going to make a couple of LFOs over here. How about a clocked random step generator? That's pretty good. And then also just, we better get 2 because they're clocked. The yellow ones are all going to be feeding off this clock here in a sec. And we'll set 1 to mono and the other to color just for variety. So there's 1 going in. Oops. There's the output of 1 going into one mixer. And there's the output of the other going into the other mixer. So what you're going to get here is you're going to get a sequence, and then you're going to get another sequence, but they're going to be mixed with these 2 random sources, so there'll be sort of a semi-random repeating patterns. And I think here I'm going to do that other trick I did before, where I take a mixer and I use this one, is it? Crossfade with modulator, great. So there's 1 random sequencer output. There's the other random sequencer output. And now I'm going to make a square wave LFO. Nope. There it is. Send the square wave to crossfade. Set that to max. Feed it all the way to the left side and slow it down. So this is just a yes-no switch. When the light is off, it will allow the audio from one channel to go through. When the light is on, as now, it will allow the other channel. It will never allow a little bit of one or a little bit of the other because the settings are at maximum. Oh, you know what I should do? Just before, I was going to send the switch's output into a quantizer, but I'm going to do something different instead. Let's make 2 quantizers. Where is that? Key quantizer. So there's 2 of them. I'm going to reduce their range to 32 steps. There it is. And then I'm going to give them slightly different notes. I'm going to give this one C, E, G, and A. Those are all from the C major pentatonic. I'm going to give this one C, D, G is all from the pentatonic, and then B is not, but it'll still sound nice, trust me. The only one I'm not going to use here for sure is F. So that means I want the output of one mixer to go into a quantizer, and I want the output of the other mixer to go into the other quantizer. So essentially I'm creating 2 semi-random sequences, and then I'm quantizing them to musical notes, but not the exact same notes, so that when this little switch flips, you'll hear him play a riff that sounds a certain number of notes, a certain collection of notes, and then a slightly different riff with a slightly different note collection. So that looked a bit haphazard there just because I've departed from my traditional organizing, but I think that concept makes sense. So let's hook it all up now and get some sound. So I'm going to take 4 pulses per beat, run the sequencers off of it. I'm going to feed the clocked random step generators. And I'm going to take the output of that switch and feed him into the pitch of the oscillator. And we're running this, the gate is coming out of here at a 16-step pattern. The byte beat definitely does it pattern where it's 16 steps. So I think it's okay to just have it that way. So let's hear what we got. Just turn off the digitizer. That's nice. quiet, so it sounds even better. Excuse me. So now let me do a bit of a tweaking in the audio world to make it even more Game Boy sounding. I think I'm going to feed some... I have these two random LFOs that are clocked. Bytebeat is also using a lot of clocked LFOs, so this will help me get that sound. So now he's adjusting the pulse width according to the clock. I'm going to do something similar to the digitizer input. So let's keep it very clean and then introduce a bit of randomness here. To the sample rate. I have to turn this on. Hear that? Cool. I think I'm going to take the same one and feed the filter as well. See what we get. It's a little bright. Let's turn it down. Good. So actually the melody is in some ways more pleasant than the actual Bytebeat melody would be, because I can control the notes of it. But we're in the right ballpark here. So let's go ahead and build our other machine for today. By the way, I wasn't even looking at the resources. To get this one complex voice, I spent 31%. So I feel I still have lots of room left to build a pocket operator with. No problem at all. No problem at all. With all this randomness going on over here, from the pocket operators, I'm hoping for a little bit more predictability or repeatability, or even just boringness, if you want to call it that. I was thinking about using this, the clocked pattern generator, but I don't believe the pocket operator has that functionality. So in the interest of keeping my emulation as accurate as I can, within reason, I'm just going to use two standard sequencers, because I know the pocket operator can definitely do event sequencers like this. So let's just hook them up there, hook them up to the pulse thing. Oh yeah, so actually I'm going to need two over here. See if I can get this right this time. Oh, you know what I can do? I'll just cheat. Okay, great. Let me just describe this before I program it. So what I had going in my head was, once the chip tunes are playing their notes, that the pocket operator, one of the patterns I planned to program on it was a 4 on the floor techno beat, which is in 7/4 time. Or in other words, you could say it's 1 bar of 4 and 1 bar of 3. Well, if you put a kick on every beat, you're just going to hear boom, 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 boom. You won't even know that it's 7/4 as opposed to 8/4 or 4/4. But when you program some tom hits in the 7/4 pattern, you will absolutely hear that they are not synced up. So I think I'm going to do that now. I would hope that I can do it this way by taking... So if it's at 16 steps for 4 beats, then to add 3 more, I need 12 beats. And I need to add 12 to 16, which would be 28. So in other words, I want these 16 steps to play sequentially, and then I want the first 12 steps to play on here, and then instead of playing step 13 here, it should loop back to there. So that's why I set it to 28, because he will play 16 and then wait 12. And as soon as he's about to play what would be 17, this should trigger. So I think the way I get that to work is by sending link out here to clock in here. But maybe not. I've forgotten how to do it. Damn. Yeah. Is it maybe link to reset? And then this goes off the clock? I don't think that's it. Let me just cheat and consult another patch for a moment. So we'll go ahead and save this one here. So this one is going to be called 09 Twitch MU. This is an emulation of my Twitch setup. I didn't mean to have the capital letters there. Twitch MU. Because that's, yeah, great. So let's cheat and open another patch. This one should give it to me. And it doesn't. Thanks a lot. For nothing. Oh, I bet drum and bass will have it. Yeah, he has it. So what I'm looking at is the yellow cables here. And it does show the clock. This link is going to here. Right? And this goes to there. No, link out goes to reset in, and the clock continues. Oh, maybe I hadn't turned this. Yeah, I hadn't turned the step off. Okay, let's go back and see if we can get it right. So open Twitch MU. Yes. So what I should have done is turned this off, run link into reset, and then run clock into clock. This probably won't matter to you unless you're also a Nord Micromodular owner, but I can see now that it's working. Watch the green light. It goes there, and at step 12, it starts off again. Great, cool, awesome, and perfect. So we've got this. This is my 7/8 sequencer, which I will use for a kick on channel 1 and a tom on channel 2. And I got another sequencer here going off the same clock, which is currently set to a 4 on the floor sequencer. Great, okay, that was probably the only real work of this whole programming anyway, and I had to steal it from another patch. Oh well. So let's make some drums. In my head, I wanted to have a kick to start, and then I wanted to have 2 tom-toms. I never remember which toms are going to sound good. Some of them sound very bad on the defaults. And I think I'll just make a 3 inputs mixer here and feed them to that. So there's the kick. There's tom 1. There's tom 2. And run the whole thing into master channel 2 there. Okay, great. Let's program it. So this is channel 1 is the kick drum, and as I said, we're going to do 4 on the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that one's in the wrong spot. Oh, there's another problem. Let me just turn this down. So I sent this sequencer into here, but I need to send both of them into it. So what are we going to use? We are going to use a logic processor. So this is not really a very advanced process. It's just going to say OR. So we're going to send this one to one input and this one to the other. So it means if one sequencer or the other sends a beat, then the output is a beat, and send that into the kick drum instead. And we get, there we go. Let's find a better kick. Well, I do always use this one. Let's just use this one for today. And we'll tune it down a bit, maybe. Let's back this off a little bit. I almost want to drop this whole thing an octave down. There we go. It's not a bad kick, but I think I still prefer 3. Great, let's just do that for now. Who cares? So we also need to make a logic processor for channel 2. There he is there. And there's one output. Set it to OR. There's the other output. And the summed output goes to this tom. So let's just put in something very simple for now. Yep. Cool, okay. And then we have this 4 on the floor synced tom, just for something, polyrhythmic. Let's go ahead and give him, well, any hit should be fine. Cool, that's actually pretty close. I know I just threw some tom hits on there, but this is definitely like a less is more type of thing. You don't need too many to create a complex interlocking pattern, especially since he's on a different time signature than this one. Let's just listen a bit. Cool, I think I'm just gonna, I have the processing power, I'm gonna throw in the 3rd tom. And these are already mixed here. Let's just send him to the available input here rather than making something new. And give him channel 4 here. So this is tom 1, 2, tom 1, 3, there should be tom 1, 1. Give him a hit here. How about on the off? Good. Yeah, so that's very much it. Kind of a tribal type techno beat. In fact, personally I prefer these a lot. I was playing around on my 606 on Twitch as well, and I love using just the kick and the 2 toms to make a pattern. It's just so great. There's so much you can do with it. And of course I'm still working on setting up my tube drum machine to make some voodoo tube drums, and they're very much also in the same sort of pitched tonal tom-tom sort of quality. So I guess when I do receive my pocket operators in the mail, I will try and get a 7/8 tribal pattern going on one of those and hook it up to the chiptune machine, which I say is it's not going to sound exactly like Fluorine over here, but it's going to sound something like him. I'll see how close I can get it. And I'll be sure to post the results just so you can, maybe just as a clip, so you can compare this patch that we hear now to the actual hardware, just for fun. So yeah, and I just want to close before I go by saying, why did I do this? Why model my hardware when it's already in the mail? Well, number one, you learn a lot. You have to think about how the hardware makes its sounds and what it can and can't do. As I said, I don't think the Pocket Operator has a clocked random step generator, but I do think it has 16-step sequencers that you can set to 16 or 12 steps. So given what I know about it, it affects my emulation. Of course, the actual tones of drums here probably sound nothing like Pocket Operator. That's totally cool. And the square wave is square wave, so it's not that far off. Some of the effects on the fluorine are kind of similar to the digitizer here, but it's not actually a byte beat algorithm, so it's not going to sound identical. But yeah, I highly recommend you do this. Number one, if you have a modular and you're feeling gas and you say, I really want to buy the new X device that's coming out, and then you say to yourself, wait a minute, can't I just model this? Can't I just make a virtual version? I read that the new whatever machine has 2 sawtooth oscillators and a low-pass filter, and you just get a couple of oscillators and a filter and wire them together. Read the ad that's selling you that product and see how many of those modules you can find in your system. Hey, if you have VCV rec, you can absolutely model anything, any piece of gas that's coming out, with a few exceptions maybe. And then, I mean, that's part of it. If you can avoid buying a thing you don't need, great. Of course, I've already ordered mine, but I think it also teaches you different ways of thinking about things. You can take your emulated version and say, well, what if they weren't 2 sawtooths? What if they were 4 sine waves? And now you're almost like in instrument designer territory. You're not going to produce that as a hardware device, but you can, again, mock it up. This is your breadboard, if you want to look at it that way. Because people who build breadboards, they might design their own oscillators, but they gotta, and filters and other modules, but they gotta connect those together somehow. And the ways they do it is just like what we're doing here. So, yeah. So modeling and emulating your own device is a great exercise. I've been doing it forever and I don't plan to stop. So that's about it for me, Father Moo. Thank you again for joining us. Hope to have a few more rather than less videos up on YouTube soon. We had a slightly dry week there, but there was lots of support and comments for Stochastic Breakcore and for even for the drum and bass video, so thank you so much for that. And I'll see you the next time I see you. Father Moo, signing off.